You know, gym leaders are cool and all, but you know who's even cooler? Elite Four members and champions. These guys are the best of the best in the Pokemon world, usually seen as the strongest trainers in their respective regions. And today we're gonna go over one fact about every one of them, and that includes both present and previous champions. These facts will range from what I found the most interesting, the most unknown, or something I think is just kind of funny. And at the end, let me know which facts you like the most, or which ones you knew prior to the video. We of course start with the one and only Kanto League members, also known as the Indigo League. Lorelei grew up in the Sevii Islands where she has a house, and she'll fill her house with plushies as the player beats the league. Bruno will face away from the player when defeated. Agatha has a secret past with Professor Oak. Many believe she could even be Blue's grandmother. We do know that the intro battle is between a young Professor Oak and Agatha. If you talk to a woman in the Fire Red Leaf Green department store, she'll mention how Lance will visit just to buy capes. Blue is the only champion whose team is based on the player's skills. In Yellow, his ace will change depending on your earliest battles. He'll have Vaporeon if you lose the first battle and the optional Route 22 battle, Flareon if you only win one of these battles, and Jolteon if you win both of these battles. Growing up, Trace was apparently the one to always look after the player. Red canonically loses the most out of all Pokemon protagonists, losing to the Johto, Black 2, White 2, Alola, and Let's Go protagonists. Professor Oak is implied to be an ex-champion. Let's Go even teases the idea of battling him for the champion position. Now for the underappreciated Johto League members. Will traveled the world to become strong enough to join the league. His speech even seems to imply that he's tried to join before, but failed in those previous attempts. When Koga made the jump from gym leader to Elite Four member, he left his gym to his daughter Janine. Freaking nepotism, am I right? Alright, guess we're talking about Bruno again. He went from the third strongest to the second strongest. That's all I got. Despite the memes around her name, Karen is a beloved character in the Pokemon games. She famously believes that real trainers fight with their favorites, and don't believe in titles like strong Pokemon or weak Pokemon. Okay, Lance again. Funnily enough, Lance is only the champion in the Johto games by default, because Red got bored of the job and left for Mount Silver. Now for the 7.8 out of 10 Hoenn League members. In all versions of the Hoenn Elite Four, Sydney is the only one to not have duplicates on his team. This includes Pokemon from the same evolution line. Phoebe grew up in Mount Pyre, and through her training there she learned to commune with ghost types. Glacia is not from Hoenn. Instead, she mentions that she traveled from afar. Despite this, her entire team is filled with Hoenn Pokemon, or Pokemon who evolve from Hoenn Pokemon. Drake is the only Hoenn Elite Four member who's appeared in the anime. When talking to Steven to battle him in Pokemon Emerald, he mentions battling alongside you in the Sootopolis Space Center. However, the Hoenn Space Center is in Moss Deep City. Wallace is kind of a triple threat in the Pokemon world. He's a gym leader in Ruby, Sapphire, and Oras, a champion in Emerald, and on top of all that, he's a master rank contest star. Now for my turf, the Sinnoh League members. In Black 2 and White 2, it's revealed that Aaron was once a gym leader, meaning that like Koga, Aaron made the jump from gym leader to Elite Four member. Ever since Gen 5, a connection between Bertha and Agatha had been made, and thanks to Legends Arceus, it has been confirmed that they do share a common ancestor, with the character Charm not only looking like both of them, but also having both a Rhydon and Gengar. In DP and BDSP, Flint has a team with only 2 fire types. This is because Infernape and Rapidash are the only DP fire types. But he does have good reasons for using Steelix, Drifblim, and Lopunny. Steelix because he is used in the metal making process, Drifblim because they're a hot air balloon, and Lopunny because their fur is used to make mufflers and hats. And no other reasons, you pervs. Lucian is the first Sinnoh Elite Four member you meet outside of the league. Cynthia has been raising her ace Garchomp since she was a little girl. She was the one to hatch Garchomp and raise them. Now for the the fabulous Unova League members. Chantal has been with Chandelure since they were a little girl in Litwick, and during that time Litwick would give Chantal a soft light to read. Grimsley has a crippling gambling addiction. In fact, his clothing even seems to reference a roulette wheel. Caitlin made her first appearance in Platinum, where she was in charge of the Battle Frontiers Battle Castle. However, you would not actually battle her during this time. Caitlin was young and had trouble with her psychic powers when she lost, so instead she had her butler Darog battle in her place. Marshall was once the apprentice of Alder, which could mean he's canonically the strongest Unova League member. Alder has Pokeballs on his neck because he doesn't know how to use a PC, so he just carries all the Pokemon he ever catches with him. N is the only champion to use a Box Art Legendary on his team. Hilbert and Hilda are nowhere to be seen in Black 2, White 2, so it's possible that, like Red, they got bored and retired as champion. In the anime, Iris has the ability to read the minds of dragon types. This is likely why she has a deep bond with her Pokemon, and how she became the youngest champion to date. Now for the underrated Kalos League members. Malva is a member of Team Flare, and even seems to show some resentment towards the player. Why is she not in jail? Seabold bowed Alon's Mega Charizard with his own Mega Blastoise, and won. And for reference, Alon would eventually enter the Masters 8 in the anime, meaning that in a one-on-one, Seabold could beat one of the top 8 trainers. Drazna's grandparents were from Celestic Town in the Sinnoh region, and hearing stories of Dialga and Pocket inspired her to be a dragon tamer, though funnily enough, she doesn't have a Garchomp, the only Sinnoh dragon type. Wickstrom was the first Kalos Elite Four member to appear in the anime, appearing in Diancie in the Cocoon of Destruction. He later appeared again in Journeys and helped Go evolve his Scyther. Diantha may be the most underdeveloped champion in her own game. You only interact with her twice before battling her, and unlike previous or following champions, she doesn't really help out against the region's evil team at all. Now for the Tropical Alola League members. In Sun and Moon, Hala is the one who gives you your starter Pokemon, making him the first and only Elite Four member to give you your starter. Olivia's battle animation was used as a meme for a while. People managed to access the Sun and Moon models and their animations, which in Olivia's case was used to have other characters do her walk. Acerola has a Pokemon in the anime that broke everyone's mind, that being Mimikins the Mimikyu. Not because Mimikins is a shiny, but because they're a ghost of a Mimikyu, meaning that Mimikyu, and possibly other ghost types, can actually die and become a ghost of a ghost type. Kahili is the daughter of the Hano Grand Resort owner. There's also a golf course near the resort. Moraine is the only PC developer who the player can battle. The Sun and Moon protagonists having blank stares are canon traits, with this joke being made in Pokemon Masters. Kukui and Hau act as the champions stand-in battles. Kukui in Sun and Moon and Hau in the Ultra games. Now for a quick bonus, the sporty Galar League member. The one trainer who's part of a traditional Pokemon League in Galar. If you've played Pokemon Sword and Shield, you know Leon as the undefeated champion who's bad with directions. And this holds true in the anime. Not only is Leon the undefeated Galar champion, but he's canonically the strongest trainer in the Pokemon world. At least until Ash beat him and took that title. Okay, Leon is technically the only league member of Galar, but in the Sword and Shield DLC, we actually meet past champions. Mustard remained undefeated in his reign as champion for 18 years, but he retired when the chairman of the time wanted him in a rigged match. Peony is the brother of Chairman Rose. I wanna call nepotism, but the two of them grew up as working class individuals, and Peony is best Pokedad, so that's fine. Now finally for the shiny new Paldea League members. Rika is the only Paldea Elite Four member to not have a flying type. Poppy has Corviknight, Larry specializes in flying, and Hassel has Noivern. But I guess this makes sense for a ground specialist. Poppy is the youngest league member of any region. Like, she literally looks like a baby. Like, where are this girl's parents? Larry is the most beloved character in Scarlet and Violet. I mean, name a more perfect specimen. Also, Larry's the only Elite Four member who's a gym leader at the same time. Hassel is the art teacher at the player's school. He also apparently came from a faraway region, which he ran away from to pursue his passions. Gita is not only the champion of Paldea, but she's also the chairman of the league and the chairman of the player's school, so she holds a scary amount of political power in Paldea. Nemona is already a champion throughout the entire game, but she just has a different team to battle with the player and help them grow. Now, how about for a bonus section? Since the player will canonically always become champion, how about we also go over one fact about each Pokemon protagonist? Aside from the ones we've already gone over, Green in Let's Go is portrayed very similarly to her manga counterpart. Ethan/Gold is the first protagonist to beat Red. Chris has the longest gap between her first and latest appearance. Lyra is ideal for Heart Gold Soul Silver speedrunning since Lyra talks longer. Brendan/May are originally from Olivine City in Johto. Lucas has a BDSP team that's similar to Chuggaaconroy's Platinum team. Meanwhile, Dawn has a team that references her anime team. Nate is a member of the International Police in the manga. Meanwhile, Rosa used to be a member of Team Plasma. Caleb won a junior tournament, but secluded himself from the fame. Serena is the only traveling companion to have an explicit crush on Ash. Chase bears a striking resemblance to Ash. Elaine and Pikachu are the canonical protagonists and Let's Go starter. Victor is the Sword and Shield male protagonist, and that's all I got. Contrary to the memes, Gloria has an English accent in Pokemon Masters. Florian and Juliana are the canon names of the Scarlet Violet protagonists. And there you have it, folks. One fact for every Pokemon Elite Four member and champion. I hope you learned at least one new thing about these great characters. And hopefully you thought these facts were interesting. We've now gone over gym leaders and league members. What else should I go over? What was your favorite fact of this video? What did you already know versus what did you learn? Let me know in the comments below. Have a nice day, you wonderful people.
God! I'm sorry, Bruno, but you got freaking destroyed. I beat so many of your Pokemon critical. How could I lose? Dude, you got critical. Go face your... He turned away from us? What? You hate it? You're not even gonna look us in the face?